Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about the Skorpion G, learning how to properly play it. Now the most and biggest suggestion I recommend is only snipe if you absolutely have to. If the map will not allow you, or if the positioning or the team or whatever won't allow you to be aggressive and you can't do it safely, then you can snipe. The rest of the time, you should try being a little bit aggressive. This is kind of a map where it's kind of it kind of plays into that situation depending on what happens. And yeah, I'm gonna be showing you 2 replays today, so that's what we're gonna be doing. I'm actually going to turn down the pause this real quick and adjust the. There we go. Okay, there we go. So yeah, this is going to become a very weird game, and the reason for that is because, as you can see, to our right, we only have 2 tanks really that are going off there, and over there, as where most of our allies are. So I'm just gonna sit here in this bush for now and wait to see what happens. So if you're not sure what to do, it's better just to play like normal, play like a TD until you can find good opportunities. So for me, this tank it's a lot about knowing when to poke, kind of like when you play an EBR, like when you drive up and shoot something, it's knowing when the right time is to go up there and shoot. Same thing with the Leopard 1, it's kind of the same idea. Not exactly the same playstyle, but it's the same idea of what you want to try to do. And it can work. I'm not saying that it will all the time, but you can make it work reliably enough to do well into it. So, like I said, just gonna stay here, wait for things to poke, and as you see, nothing much is really happening yet, and we haven't really had a whole lot to do for the moment, other than just getting one shot in on the side of that AMX. And we are going to be losing Valley soon, so that is a very important key in this map specifically. So throughout the game, this only works, and the situation only works because of what happens, and I'll explain that a little bit more. So I can't be aggressive right now in the 1-2 line, because if I peek, I'm going to get shot by a couple tanks that peek there. Let me show my mouse here. You should be able to see it. Let me make sure you can. Yeah, you can. So when they peek here, obviously, as you see, that the Iron Arnie and them have already crossed over. I'm not going to try risking shooting that because I get into a crossfire with 3 or 4 tanks. I will die from that. I have no HP, pretty much. You know, it always helps to act like you're a one-shot. Act like you can't take a shot. It will make you play more passively. It shouldn't make you play more passively, I should say. It should make you be more cautious. It should influence your gameplay to be more cautious. So, as I see here, the A-line. Now, this is really important. The A-line, as we can see, is occupied by our allies, which means we can get them. That means if the enemy pushes over up to the 3 line, we will have them in a crossfire. And that's the only reason that we are going to stay alive here. And we're going to make some very careful and wise trades here, and I'll show you that in a little bit here as it progresses. So they're able to shoot anyone on the 4-5 line and anyone who crosses on the 7-8. Pretty much that whole area is covered if we absolutely have to. I can cover there, and I can turn around back and forth between these two, between the north and the south, if I absolutely have to. And I can use these rocks as protection. Now, if they were to just dump on me and push me, again, this position rarely... This was kind of lucky on my part for this game. So this position only worked because of my allies on the A line, and because no one was rushing. They weren't rushing me from both sides. So a little bit of luck on my part, but it allowed me to get the damage that I did. I seized the opportunity, and we hit that, by the way. And so just like that, we have 3 shots easy. So I want to take care of this Char. He's extremely dangerous. I need to take 1 shot into him, and I do. And my allies kill him. He may have taken over half my HP, but now that he's dead, I'm not in a crossfire, which means I can play this a little more carefully. I don't have to be as worried about what's going to come behind me. Although I should expect it I should expect maybe something to possibly happen, but I'm not going to worry about it right now, because as you see, our G-Sword, he should be able to spot everything there on the 4-5 line. And yeah, we have a huge crossfire on these guys here. There is a tank moving up in the center. He can't hit me because of the rock there at E4, as you can see it there, where it kind of curves. I'll show you with my mouse. So it's roughly right about here. So I'm safe there. And I can, whenever they poke here at A3, A4 as they are, I can shoot them for free. And like I said, my allies still have a crossfire on them from here. My light tank will be able to see anything that crosses down here, so I'll know if there's danger coming. Same thing if this guy starts to move up, he'll spot him long before I'll be kind of in his way before I'm in his danger. So stuff like that you have to constantly think about. So if my allies die up here on the A line, that could potentially be very bad for me. So I have to keep that in mind. I have to be very careful. We are going to get a nice little shot there as well. So as you can see, we've already racked up 3,500 damage just by peeking this very carefully. So I wait till the enemy fires, or I pre-aim an area where I know they're going to peek first. So just being ready for that, being prepared to make the first move is always going to be your best option. You shoot, you fall back, and they hopefully won't shoot you back in return. That's going to be the most effective way that you can play this. We're not playing it super aggressive. We're just being very careful. So I'm going to try to move up a little bit, see if I can get some shots. Again, I still have 2 tanks there in the north at A5, so they will be able to deal with that charioteer if he pokes and this T95, but they can't pen this T95 frontally reliably from what I saw. So I'm going to try to deal with him myself. Luckily, he's not paying any attention to us. Otherwise, I would be falling back right now. So like I said, a little bit of luck falls into it. You just have to pay attention. You just have to understand the situation, because if you don't understand it, you're gonna make poor trades. If you don't understand it, you're not gonna play it very great. So we have to kill the RU, and which is exactly what we do. He was the biggest threat there at the time, and he was gonna try to be pretty greedy, and his greed led to his downfall. So. Yeah, as we're safe here because, like I said, our Pershing is being occupied by the other 2 tanks. If he was being super aggressive, if he was poking us, I definitely would not be peeking this right now. And I did get lucky. I tracked the T95, and that was a good thing because that potentially just saved our life there. And yeah, we're gonna fully aim there, and I think that's pretty much all the damage that we're gonna get this game. Actually, yeah, but. And then unfortunately for me, I don't aim the shot. I should have just kept driving, and unfortunately, as you can see, the Artie's aiming at me, and he hits that, of course, because, you know, typical Artie player. He did end up on my blacklist, but for that, so, but yeah, so, little mistake there at the end, but it's, you know, I don't know if it would have mattered too much, to be honest with you. I just would have peeked more. And then potentially, if I didn't miss the shot, I may have killed him before he killed me, or maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that was a kind of an oof on my mistake, and the WZ does kill him, and then they're gonna finish off this Pershing here. So, yeah, that was a pretty easy game. We got kind of lucky there. It wasn't too hard of a battle, if I'm being completely honest with you. So, and yeah, G-Sword just flipped the whole time, so I guess that's why he was there the whole time, which I didn't know about. But he still would have been able to spot those, like I said earlier. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results. Let's see what we did. So, like I said, we ended up getting an ace tanker for that, for the 4K damage that we did, playing close quarters and shooting kind of 8s and 9s. So, we got the high caliber for the 4,000 that we did. So, a good, not a bad game, but not an absolutely great game either. Which is totally perfectly fine. So, yeah, unfortunately for us, we got penned by RD, but we did end up making top damage and top XP that game, and yeah, it was very lucky. Another thing too I want to point out is that they're on the east. If the east had fallen, I would have also been in a crossfire from the east. So the south and the east are just risky in general because of how wide open it is, and the second you get lit, if the enemy has shots on you, you're just dead. Simple as that. So I wanted to mention that too. That also only worked because our allies also managed to hold the east, which doesn't happen too often, if I'm being honest. And that's why that position worked that time. Because most of the time, like I said, it depends on the situation. You, if I had to fall back there, I would have been screwed. I would have died, no question there. If I saw the push coming earlier and I saw we were losing both sides, I would have probably, if I thought of it, I would have moved up to the A4, A5 area where my turtle was, and stuff like that. So, and vice versa. Uh, if we're winning 1-2 line and we're losing east, like where the heavies go, then I would then fall back with them on the 1-2 line and then just snipe east. Pretty easy to do. So, uh, yeah, we weren't sniping there, but we weren't being too aggressive, and it worked out good. So I'm gonna show you guys another replay where we did go full on aggressive. So this is going to be another good prime example of that. So, and it again, this doesn't work all the time. It depends on what tanks they have. So this is gonna matter more of what tanks they have on a map like, or on just in general, when you're gonna be more aggressive in close quarters. It is very critical that you know what tanks you're going to be fighting. That way you know who to run away from, stuff like that. And you should always have a rating of how dangerous a tank is, because obviously an IS-3A can clip me out with his full mag within 6 seconds after his first shot. Stuff like that. So, for example, here in this game, it's tier 6, so it's going to be really easy for us. So we really don't have to worry. This is a really easy battle. So the Patriot, the Iron Army, pretty much all their tier 8s, we have to be careful of. The Skorpion has Alpha. The Super Pushing has armor. We have to be careful of. The Iron Army is just insane overall. Patriot has really good armor as well, and he can easily kill us. Their Churchill, if we have to face him, we have to be careful of him because he has DPM. And then the KV2, of course, has Alpha. He can do 1,000 to us if he so wishes. So we have to be careful of him. The SMV and everyone else is pretty much easy to deal with. You just aim at the weak spots, and it's pretty easy to do. Now, if this was a tier 10 game, I would have to be a lot more careful. You can pretty much play the same way in the south too. Same thing with the last map. You play it the same way north and south. It's even on both sides, so it doesn't really matter too much. But we are already spotted because of that super Pershing, so we are gonna try to put a couple of rounds into him. I'm gonna try to use these bushes, which I probably should have done first thing. And we do end up spotting the Iron Army. I'm not sure why he's back there, but yeah, I made that mistake of poking too far to the right. So I'm gonna peek over here to the left. I can get shots on the Super Pershing without getting spotted. I do have to be careful though, because if we read the map, there's nobody to my right at all on the east. So I have to be very careful of that. So I'm gonna be very careful when I peek this. And I was considering even falling back. Unfortunate bounce there by me, but yeah, we do have to be very careful because of that. However, if we do spot anything that crosses here, these guys will be able to shoot that. So that's why I'm able to stay here for now, at least. That doesn't mean that it'll stay that way the whole time either. So I have to be very careful of how I play this. So again, I'm gonna try to get some shots here on these other guys, and I'm gonna make sure that that Super Hellcat doesn't come back up here. I am gonna aim at this Iron Army, and fortunately for us, he is gonna peek a little bit, and we are gonna fire and fully aim that, and that was worth being patient for, especially with this gun. The more patient you are, it's gonna end up being way better for you. Another thing too is that we have to be careful too of the heavies that peek there, because they will peek there. And so I'm just gonna sit here. I'm out of their spotting range. I'm not gonna get spotted anymore by these guys that are peeking the ridge. I have to be careful of that, and when their heavies poke, I'm gonna get shots on them like that pretty easily. So yeah, I got kind of lucky here, to be honest, in the east, because I could have easily died to these mediums if I wasn't careful. So I want to fall back, and what I'm doing is I'm going to go here to have easier shots on these heavies. I want to ignore that VK for now, because if I try peeking him, what happens is I'm going to get in a crossfire with the Super Pershing. Anyone that's back down here, anyone that's here, they might possibly be able to shoot me, and of course these two guys here. So I want to avoid that. The Super Pershing actually did come back up, so I don't have to worry about him. He's behind the building. He's not going to be able to touch me from where I'm at. So I'm just waiting patiently for this KV-1S to make a mistake. He does, and we do get a nice little shot on him, and we do set him on fire for a kill. So now I really do have to be careful. I have to kill this was that EZ8 or EZ3 or whatever. Yeah, EZ8. We do get a high roll into him and finish him off. So I'm gonna use this building as cover. It's the safest position if they push to the right like they did there, and it's the safest position if they come over here. I can just pull over to the other side, let my allies shoot them, and then I can peek them, of course, and shoot them when I'm reloaded and stuff like that. So far, not a horrible game at 2,500 right now, which is kind of average for this tank. Um, so now I'm gonna try to very carefully peek this. I have, like I said, I have to be careful of anyone that might be sitting back here, kind of like how their Hellcat is. But I want to help this VK. We need to get some tank. We need to get these lower HP tanks out of the game. So I'm just gonna patiently wait a little bit. I'm hoping that the VK falls back. I asked him to. He's just gonna sit there, and unfortunately, he's gonna die. We do kill the VK. It's only 7 HP, but like I said, we needed to get a gun out the game, which was the whole point of me sitting there in the first place. And also, it was safe to do so. Hellcat wasn't peeking over there, and to the left to be able to shoot us. So I do decide to make an aggressive play here. I'm gonna patiently wait just a little bit just to see if he peeks, and then I decide that he's not gonna move. So I'm gonna have to be the one that moves. And I am going to get a shot into his side and finish him off. So it is just an Achilles, nothing too dangerous, but we do want to get out of his way because he does have DPM. So I do have to be very careful of that. I'm going to reload, see if he pokes. Again, I have to be careful here. There could be tanks back there. So which is why I'm being very cautious. So I do notice that our tanks are moving up, our mediums are moving up finally. And that's going to allow us here pretty soon to make a push, as we see our Stritzvon doing. So I'm debating whether if I should poke this or not. I have to, because I am proxied. I'm going to get farmed by that Super Hellcat, so I have to kill this Achilles. And we do. We ammo rack him for almost 600. So now the other Super Hellcat, we know where he's at, and then of course the other one gets spotted. So I am going to aim this shot here, and we are going to get another high roll for him. And that brings us to nearly 4,000 damage already. Just playing aggressively. So like I said, we did get kind of lucky too on this, but just playing it carefully and just doing the best that we can to make sure that we're not going to take unnecessary damage is huge, and that's what allowed us to do this pretty easily. So yeah, you just read the situation, read what's going on. If you don't understand what's going on, just play the tank like I have, like practice it, saying, okay, if I peek this, what's going to happen? If I move here, what's going to happen? Am I going to be in a crossfire? Do I need to move? Am I able to do anything at all? If I'm not, then I need to snipe, kind of thing. So that's what I'd recommend. And yeah, that brings us to our Top Gun medal finally, and we do breach over 4,000. Of course, when we did shoot that one guy. So we are gonna get this last shot here on the Iron Arnie. We're gonna get the kill. I'm gonna aim a little bit, and that should be enough that should be reduced enough RNG anyway to do well in it. So I do accept the SCOTUS platoon invite, just for the BIA platoon. So I got 7 kills, and he got another 4. So between us, we got 11 kills that game. And like I said, that was pretty easy to do, if I'm being completely honest with you. So let's see what that brought us. So that brought us a mastery badge, of course. We've got a couple of other funny medals too. We made some good XPs, even though we don't really need it in this tank, and we made some good credits too. We got a Top Gun, we got Tank Sniper. You can still snipe in this when you play aggressively. Like I said, I just showed you, we were sniping from the mid-range, sniping in the back, or sniping the enemies in the back. So, and we got the high caliber for the 4,500 damage that we did. And then, of course, with the 7 kills and with accepting that platoon invite, we got the BIA platoon medal. So, yeah, he actually ended up getting 2nd in damage that Skoda did. So he almost got 3K. So not bad at all for him. And like I said, pretty easy game, to be honest with you. We could have traded maybe a little bit better, poked a little bit at different angles, if I wanted to. Yeah, you have to get very, very in-depth with where you peek and stuff like that. When you play aggressively, you really have to think about what you're doing. And if you make mistakes, if you misjudge, or if you just aren't paying attention, you are going to suffer playing this tank aggressively. I'm still getting used to it myself, even though I've 2-marked it. I'm working on 3-marking it, which I know I can do. I just need to practice it a little bit more, and be more consistent at doing this. So obviously you're not going to have the same battles like I am, and if you do, that's awesome. But like I said, my biggest advice to help you play this aggressively is just know what you're doing, practice it, and look what you could have done better. And one thing I've learned recently too is try not to rely on your allies if you don't have to, because like I said, especially if you're trying to mark, it's all about damage, and yeah, you kind of have to be selfish in that regard to what you do for damage. So, um, and yeah, we still profited over 170,000 that game, so not bad at all. And yeah, that was definitely a well fought battle. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of this. If you have questions about it, just let me know. In case if you missed it already, I have optics, rammer, and improved aiming on this tank. Optics is for view range. Like I said, when I play aggressively, I needed that view range. It allowed me to see the Iron Ernie. I probably wouldn't have spotted him if it wasn't for the optics. And I don't trust my allies to spot, especially in a paperless TD. I want to be as far away from possible if I have to snipe. And yeah, we did pretty well. Um, and like I said, Rammer is just for better DPM. The Alpha is amazing. Um, and the improved aiming is just to help with the accuracy. The accuracy itself is fine. It's like 0.27 or 0.3 base, so it's pretty good. But I brought mine down. I think to, does it say here? Let's have a look. Never mind. I guess it is. Yeah, 0.2. Was this on the? Yeah, it was. It's highlighted. So yes, this is my Scorp G stuff right here. This is from the screenshot. So, yeah, 0.27 is pretty good. You if you don't want to do aiming, if you want to have it like at 28, 0.29 accuracy, even 0.3, you could use gun laying drive. If you really, really wanted to, it's honestly up to you what you use for equipment. But that's the equipment I personally prefer. I wouldn't go optics, or anything or I wouldn't go binoculars and camo. Now that's just kind of in the past thing for TDs. So if you want to play it aggressively, definitely don't do that. Definitely don't use that setup. There's nothing wrong if you do use it, but you can't really do a whole lot with it other than just snipe and conceal yourself. So that's what I recommend anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know, like I said, let me know what you guys think. And I look forward to streaming later today. As you know, I've already uploaded one video. This is going to be the second video for today. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.